Hey guys, techmadeezy, and thank you so much for clicking on our video today. Well, yep, your eyes don't deceive you. This is the brand new, coming soon, River 2 Pro. Now guys, this thing's got a larger battery than the original Pro. It also has a battery that's going to last a whole lot longer, okay? And a couple more upgrades that we're going to go over in this video. Look, in this review, we're going to do our super quick unboxing like you know that we do. We're going to do a close look. We're going to review the basics. We're going to go over specs. We're going to do some testing. And then don't forget, we're also going to do our refrigerator test, right? How long can this power our refrigerator, which is really nice. We're going to share some final thoughts. And just so you'll know, I'll put an image up on the screen. We are going to be doing a River Pro versus a River 2 Pro comparison. That is coming soon. That's what the image looks like. And a link will be put in the description at the time that video comes out, okay? Plus, we're going to talk about discounts and special EcoFlow gifts that you'll be able to get during the launch of this video. We're going to put some stuff in the description, okay? So, why don't we go ahead and get this party started? Hi, this is Al from techmadeezy with a really quick message. The video you're about to watch is sponsored. We received this product from the vendor, but keep in mind, we will be very honest with you as we review the product. That is very important to us. If you like our video, I sure hope you give us a thumbs up. I hope you share our video. And last, I really hope you subscribe and become a part of the family. Thank you. Let's go ahead and get this unboxed. And there you go. Mower Joe is hanging out on top. But as you can see, this is the new River 2 Pro. Nice and beefy. You get a user guide. You get barrel cables, DC barrel cables. You get a car charger. And you get a pretty thick AC cord. I'll tell you, this is a 14 AWG power cord, so it's really nice and thick. You don't get a solar cable. We'll put a link in the description if you're going to charge this via solar. But that is what you get. It's now time for us to go over a nice quick look here. And then after this, we're going to go over basics and we're going to go over some detailed specs, okay? But let's start off here in the front. And as you can see, you know, it's all about output in the front, right? Except there's also some input in the front that's new to the River Pro series. So we'll start here on the bottom, and you've got your 4 AC outlets. They're 3-prong, which is really nice. You've got your dedicated power button here. When you go over to your DC side, you've got your car charger and 2 barrel ports, and again, a dedicated DC power button, okay? Now, as you can see here on the USB side, you know, there's no power button, right? Well, as soon as you turn the unit on, these are powered, all right? So there's no separate button, and it's not controlled by DC. And then you've, of course, got a nice screen here, right? You've got your input, you've got your output, you got your battery percentage, and then this is going to be your charge or your discharge time, which is really nice. A very simple display, all right? And why did I say that you also have input in the front? Because the USB Type-C is now input and output, all right? So let's go ahead and look at the top real quick, and you'll notice a really nice flat top. And that can be helpful, right? Where if you're putting this in a tight area and having a handle that goes up to here can be an issue, this can slide right in. Now don't forget, make sure you leave room for breathability because you've got your fan here that's going to suck in air and pass it through the unit coming out here on this side. All right? So really, really important. Now you've also got a really cool handle, right? You can grab this and take it with you and it works. And this is really not that heavy considering it's the Pro. Now let's go to the back. Let's talk a little bit about the back here. So you got your where your AC cord goes, right? So you can just plug this right in, your AC cord. And then, I don't know if you notice, if you're familiar with the River series, but that's orange now. And there's a reason why it's an orange. It's now an XT60i. And it'll be able to handle a little bit more amperage. Not for solar panels, because that's easy. On the solar panel side, it'll do that. But other DC input devices. All right? But this is the back. And then let me just go ahead and lift this up so you can see what the bottom looks like as well. So there's the bottom. Very simple. You've got 4 of these rubber pieces. Pretty thick, to be honest with you. They do a good job making sure that wherever you put this, you don't scratch, whether it's this table or anything where you put it. It just does the job. And there is our quick look. Let's go ahead and go over basics like prices, stuff like that, and then let's also go over some specs. Time to go over basics and some good specs, right? We're going to go over all the specs. And by the way, starting off, this is, of course, the River 2 Pro, but there's a River 2 and there's a River 2 Max. So this is a $599 unit to my knowledge. Now that price can change, so just be aware. That's not bad at all. Now this is an 800 watt unit that can handle 1600 watts when you turn X-Boost on. Now keep in mind, X-Boost is not made for appliances that have voltage protection. So just be aware, all right? But it can help you in other cases, providing that additional wattage. Now the battery in this is a lithium iron phosphate. Some people call it LFP as well. And this thing has 3,000 charge cycles. Think about that. 3,000. That means that you charge it to 100% and then you let it go to 0, and that's 1. You've got 3,000 more left. This thing can last for years. Now, think about this. After the 3,000 charge cycles, this thing has 80% left of the battery. You've only gone through 20% of the battery. So, again, this thing can last a long time. Now, you can charge this really fast. They've got a technology called Extreme, and you can charge this up to 100% in 70 minutes. And I believe that's around 940 watts max, which is insanity. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the battery. The capacity has been expanded, and this is a 768 watt-hour battery. So that's not bad. Let's go ahead and talk about the BMS. So what is a BMS? Well, this has a battery management system. And at a high level, what does that do? It monitors the current, the voltage, and the temperature of the unit to protect it, all right? So just know, it's there. Now, this also has a feature called EPS. Now, you might have heard UPS, right? And I'm not talking about your shipper. So UPS is uninterrupted power supply. Now, this is not a UPS because it's not that fast. It's fast, but it's not UPS fast. So I'm going to demo the EPS feature in this video. So make sure you check out our testing. Let's go over solar specs. So solar specs on this is 11 to 50 volts and 13 amp. And this will be able to handle a 220 watt solar panel. Now, this has app control as well. So you can use a tablet or a smartphone to actually control it and monitor it, which is really nice. And you'll be able to do that via Bluetooth at a local range, right, within your home or your business. Or you'll be able to control it via Wi-Fi as long as this is connected to your home Wi-Fi and you have the app installed. You'll be able to monitor and control it remotely from anywhere in the world, which is cool. Now, keep in mind, this is only compatible with 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and the Bluetooth version wasn't stated, so I thought I would mention that. Now, the weight on this is 17.2 pounds or 7.8 kilograms. Now, the good news here is this includes a 5-year warranty. And again, as we showed you earlier, you get the you know, the AC cord, you get the car charger, the DC barrel plugs, and the manual. You just don't get a solar cable. We'll put one in the description. Let's continue on with specs and go over our outlets now. So let's start off with our AC outlets. You've got 4 of them, okay? And they'll handle 800 watts. And don't forget, certain devices and appliances can handle X boost, which will give you up to 1600 watts. So just be aware, all right? Let's talk about our USB Type A. We've got 3 of them, and these are 12 watts, these 3. Now, as we go down to this magical USB Type C, well, what's special about that is a bidirectional, meaning that you can actually charge the unit up to 100 watts using a USB Type C, and we'll show you that in our testing. Or you can power devices like MacBooks and certain laptops and definitely smartphones, right? You plug this right in to your USB Type C and you charge away. So this is a really nice feature because you can charge the unit faster that way. You've got your DC outlet here. So the car outlet is maxed at 126 watts. All right, it's 12.6 volts. And down here, your barrel plugs are 12.6 volts, but they max out at 36 watts. All right. Let's also talk about the 4 ways you can charge this. So you got AC, you've got DC, you've got solar, and don't forget, I just talked about it a minute ago, but you now have USB Type C. So you've got 4 ways to charge this unit. All right. Now, if you want to know temperature notes, I'll go ahead and put those on the screen, all right? Operating, discharge, and charging. I'll put those on the screen for you. So here are some information on the limited time discounts and gifts. First of all, we are going to have a 5% off TechMadeEzy discount on the EcoFlow website and on the Amazon website. But please use our link, support our channel. Our links will be in the description. All right, as you can see, the code is TechRiver. Now, the discounts are going to be valid from April 3rd all the way to the end of April on both the EcoFlow and Amazon websites. Now, be aware there are bonuses. Some of them are on the EcoFlow website and some of them are on the Amazon website. As you can see below, they're going to be giving discounts out on the 220-watt solar panel, but you have to buy it with the River 2 Pro in order to get the discount. You can get eco credits. That's something new on the EcoFlow website when you purchase using our link. And you can also get a free River 2 Pro bag on the EcoFlow website, again, when you make the purchase on that website. Check out our description for more details as we get closer, and be aware the bag quantities can be limited. So see the EcoFlow website for any kind of details or rules. In this next section, I'm going to show you some must-have accessories. Let me go ahead and turn off the light and show you the first one. So my first accessory is going to help you when you take this power station out somewhere and you need some light. Did you know there is no light on the River 2 Pro, right? So why not pick up this accessory? Now check this out. This is a USB light, and all you do is tap the sides, and that thing is adjustable. And this thing uses about 1/2 watt, maybe even less. All right, but I like it because it's adjustable. It plugs in to the USB A port. And again, you could really put this any way you want, which is really cool. So whatever works for you, but I'll put the link in the description on this one. That's one of my favorites. Let's check out the next accessory. Another one of my favorite accessories is, what if you want another car charge port, right? Well, guess what? You can use your barrel ports. You got 2 barrel ports. You can go out and get this accessory. I'll put the link in the description, and it'll give you another car charge port with a cover, which is really nice. Now, bear in mind, your actual car charge outlet is 126 watts, and the DC barrel ports will supply about 36 watts. So just know that, this will be 36 watts. This will be 126 watts. But I'll put these in the description, and let's check out the next accessory. Our last accessory here. But let's say you don't use USB Type-C, and you would like to get another USB Type-A. Well, there's an accessory for that. This will actually convert a Type-C over to a Type-A. And all you do is plug it in, and there you go. But now, what if you actually want the opposite? What if you want more Type-Cs? Again, there you go. You just buy this accessory that converts a Type-A to a Type-C. Plug it in, and now you've got two Type-Cs. I'll put these in the description. I hope that was helpful. Okay, this is something that I include in every one of my power station videos moving forward. It's called Know Before You Buy. And my goal with this is that you don't go out and buy something that is not going to work for you. All right? I don't want you spending the money. I don't want you to have the headache. And I can tell you how this started. I had a friend that bought a power station, and it was a small one. And because it was a power station, I believe she assumed it would power her coffee maker. And so she was extremely disappointed. And after talking with her, I tried to explain it's more about knowledge and understanding. And so that's why I put together Know Before You Buy, because I want you to think about a few things that I'm going to go over in this section. So let me get started with number one. Number one is, what do you want to power? You have to just stop for a minute and say, you know what am I using this for? Is it for a camping trip? Is it for a road trip? Am I buying this in the case of an emergency if my power goes out? Am I taking this to a cabin that we go to every once in a while? Right? So what do you want to power? Refrigerators, TVs, phones, maybe the internet, a laptop, LED lights. So take a moment, write that down. What do you want to power? Number two, do you know how much power your appliances and device require? You probably don't. Most people don't. I learned so much in the last couple of years, and I still don't know everything. So I'm going to be showing you an accessory towards the end of this video that I highly recommend you get, because it's going to help you, determine how much power your laptop uses, your TV uses, your phone uses. But let's stick to this page here. So number two, how much power? So you need to know that, okay? And the other thing is, some of these devices have startup wattage, surge wattage. If you're going to be powering a refrigerator uses wattage, but then it has a compressor that kicks on to make the refrigerator cold, and that can use hundreds of watts, especially older type refrigerators. Let's look at some examples real quick on the bottom. LED lights can use 5, maybe 10 watts. Those are the newer LED lights, right? Laptops can use 100. They could use more. It just depends on how old it is. Is it a gaming laptop, TVs can vary. New TVs use 100 to 200 watts, those thin TVs. But if you have a larger one, it could use 300 watts. If you have an older one, well, those can use like 300-400 watts. And what about a CPAP, right? If you have to sleep overnight and you have to use a CPAP, well, those can vary from 50 to 150 watts, probably more, probably less. Let's take a look at the next section. So here's part 3. How long, right? How long will you need to power the appliances or devices? Now, again, let's just say it's for an emergency, right? Maybe your power goes out once a year for like 8 to 12 hours. Let's use that as an example. All right? But you have to know, or at least have an idea before you make a purchase, because how long really connects with the battery size of the power stations. So let's look at the next slide. So let's put it all together, right? Number one, what do you want to power? What devices? or appliances? Have a list of that. Number 2, how much power do the appliances and devices require? Now, the tool or accessory I'm going to show you coming up is going to help you do that. And number 3, how long will you need to power them, right? Number 3, again, pertains to the size of the battery, right? But number 1, and number 2 really pertains to the power of the unit, because each of these power stations have different power ratings. So here's an accessory that I'm going to recommend. And the brand, don't worry about the brand, because sometimes this brand's not available. I'll make sure links are in the description. But this device here, and I'm going to demo it in a moment so you can see it. I'm going to show it to you. It's real simple. But if you're new to it, it's intimidating, right? So this sells for around $25, and you can connect devices and appliances up to 1,875 watts. So just be aware, or 15 amps. Now, again, I don't expect you to know that, but I have to tell you that because if you plug in, let's say, a 3,000 watt toaster oven, it's not going to work on this, okay? But let me demo it for you. But what this will do is it will help you understand the wattage that your devices and appliances use. So let's check out the demo. So we're going to do a simple demo, so you know what this device is about. Again, it doesn't cost much, first of all, right? I think it's around $25. And depending on the brand that's available, we'll put a link in the description. But just realize also that you can't plug everything into this. I believe there's like an 1,800 watt limit and a certain amount of amps. Now, I know that's complicated, but if you want to know how many watts your light is using, how many watts your refrigerator is using, how many watts your laptop uses, your phone, this is perfect for it, okay? So this is plugged into my outlet, as you can see on the wall, and now I've got this light plugged in here. So all I need to do now is turn on the light, and let's see how many watts it uses. Now, again, it is on the watt screen, and this does do more than watts, so just be aware, okay? You can actually figure out kilowatts, which is how your electric company bills you, but I don't want to get that complicated. So let me turn the light on. And look at that, we're using 6.3 watts on the LED light. That's really good, right? And again, plug in your laptop, plug in your phone. Again, you'll learn more about the wattage that your appliances use, even your coffee maker. But if this was helpful, give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And we're going to continue on with the review. All right. Well, I hope that was helpful, to see that demo especially. That is a really cool tool. So let's take a moment now and go over estimated run times based on the River 2 Pro's 768 watt-hour battery. Pretty nice size. All right. So let's start off with a small refrigerator. A 75-watt college refrigerator, right? This is a basic refrigerator. You could get up to 9 hours, an estimated 9 hours. What about a full-size refrigerator? Now, keep in mind, I'm saying 200 watts, but older refrigerators could use 300, 400, 500 watts. You're going to see the testing on our refrigerator later in the video. I hope you check it out. But a full-size refrigerator, if it used 200 watts consistently, you would get about 3.5 hours, right? But understand, a refrigerator doesn't always use that much wattage consistently unless it's really old. My refrigerator at times uses 0. All right, but you're going to want to see that test. Now, what about home internet? What if you wanted to have your router and your modem and they used about 50 watts and you just wanted to have those connected? You could get an estimated runtime of 13.5 hours. What about a small fan, like a medium-sized fan that you would have plugged in that uses about 60 watts? That would give you an estimated runtime of 11.5 hours. What about an LED light, right? They don't use a lot. Well, in this situation, 10 watts, right? Some of them use 5 watts. You saw in the example just a moment ago that was using 6 watts, but 10 watts, you would get over 65 hours of runtime. And what about a CPAP? This is important, right? Because, you lose power, and if you use a CPAP, it needs to stay plugged in. Now, let's just say you have a CPAP that uses about 60 watts. You can get around 11 and a half hours. But if you have a higher powered CPAP that uses about 100 watts, you can get about 7 hours. Now let's talk about charging your phone. I'm going to use 2 examples, an iPhone and a Samsung. So let's start off with the iPhone. An iPhone 12, a basic iPhone 12, has about 25 watt hours. You're talking about being able to charge an iPhone 12 about 28 times. And a Samsung S21, well, just a basic S21, you can charge it about 19 times. I hope this information is helpful. Let's take a moment and just go over the app that EcoFlow has made. And one thing about an app is there are companies out there that don't have apps for their power stations. And listen, there are users that don't want apps, right? Now, obviously, EcoFlow allows you to connect via Bluetooth or via Wi-Fi or internet. You can use a tablet, you can use a smartphone, but it's definitely got its benefits. So as you can see here, this is the River 2 Pro. I'm going to click on that, and it's just going to jump right in to show you it is 49% charged. I've got 205 watts of solar coming in, as you can see right there. If I had it plugged into AC, it would show wattage. If I had it plugged into USB-C, it would show wattage. But that's it. Now, it's not outputting anything. So the AC outlets are off. You can turn them on. The car charger outlets are off. You can turn them on. USB-A and USB-C. Now, when you turn the unit on, the USB, obviously automatically get power now. They don't have a power button anymore, which is fine. But a nice interface. Now, it's showing 1 hour and 54 minutes until fully charged. If we go into the settings, you can rename it. So that's what we did. Okay. You can share the device. You can adjust the charging speed. So, maybe if you're plugging this in at your house and your outlet can't supply 940 watts, you can actually go all the way down to 100 watts. That's pretty cool. I'll leave it all the way up because later on we're going to do a charge test. DC mode, you can change this. You don't really need to. I leave it on auto. Car input mode, again, that could be helpful depending on your car outlet. You might want to drop it down to 4 amp if you have an older vehicle. So that's pretty nice. Obviously, X-Boost, you can have it on or off. And if you saw our coffee maker test, we were able to make coffee with X-Boost on with an older coffee maker. You can adjust the charge and discharge level. Now, why is that important? Let's say you don't really want to use the top and the bottom level of the battery because you want to prolong the power station, the battery itself. So a lot of times what I do is I'll say, you know what? I don't want you to discharge any more than 10%. And I don't want you to charge any more than 90%. Okay? So that can be helpful, and I like that. And smartphones are starting to do this, but they're not really giving you the full capability. I have a Fold 3 by Samsung. They only allow me to stop charging at 85%, so it's not adjustable. AC timeout, I always put on never, because if I got the unit on, I don't want it turning off. So that's really nice to know. You can check your firmware, you can check your specifications, and there was just a really good look at the EcoFlow app. And here we are in the TechMadeezy studio, and one of the things that we always talk about is if you're going to spend the money on a power station, aka solar generator, right? Try to make sure you get one that has a pure sine wave inverter, right? And that just means that the power coming out of the AC outlets is as clean as it's going to be. Look, and anything cleaner, right, is really going to be from the walls of your home. That's it. You can't get any cleaner. Inverters can have modified, you know, obviously pure sine wave. There's another I can't think of right now. But modified, I'll give you an example. If I plug the fan into a modified inverter, you'll hear a humming noise. And you would think it's the normal, you know, motor of the fan, but it's not. Because if you take that same fan and plug it into a pure sine wave inverter, it's actually pretty quiet. So for audio and visual devices, it's definitely recommended. And, you know, especially sensitive electronics like computers. But why don't we turn on AC and just see if this is a pure sine wave inverter. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let me hold the button down. Power's coming on, and boom. That is what a pure sine wave looks like. Now let's plug in a load real quick too and see if that changes. So I've got a 100-watt power brick here. I'm going to plug that in to the unit right here. 100 watts on the USB Type-C. And I've got a River 2 up on top. So let me plug this into the USB Type-C on the River 2. And let's see what power we're getting, first of all. So let's look at that screen and see. So we're inputting 59 watts. So we should be outputting, here we go, we're outputting 63, 64. All right, this is now being charged at 59 watts on the USB Type-C. And as you can see here, we're still at a pure sine wave, which is nice. So that is a successful test to see that the River 2 Pro is pure sine wave. Let's take a moment now and talk about pass-through charging. Now again, another feature I highly recommend that you get when you get a power station. So the River 2 Pro offers pass-through charging. Now what is that? Well, basically, you got to charge the power station, right? So while you're charging it, can you use it? Well, the answer is yes with the River 2 Pro. Now, there are some power stations that when you charge them, you can't use them until they're fully charged. They won't have that functionality. Again, pass-through charging, right? There are some power stations that only allow you to use your USB while you're charging your power station. You can't use your AC, you know. So let's do a test here, all right? We've got almost 900 watts coming into this unit. So can we actually plug in a USB device, right? So let's go ahead and plug in a USB device. Now we have 0 output currently. So we're going to plug in a USB device. We're going to charge our iPhone. We're showing some wattage. There you go. Now, can I plug in my phone and charge it also using AC? All right. So I'm going to watch the phone. I'm going to plug this in. And as you can see, I'm now charging my phone. What about a light? I've got a studio light. Can I plug a studio light in and watch? It's going to light up this corner here on the right-hand side. All right. So as you can see, that light lit up. I'm using 45 watts on the outside while I am charging using AC. And it now moved it up to 939 watts. So, as you can see with the River 2 Pro, you definitely get pass-through charging. We are now going to be testing the EPS function of the River 2 Pro. If you're familiar with UPS, uninterrupted power supply, it's very similar, but because it's not as fast as a UPS, the speed, by the way, is about 30 milliseconds, all right? Could be a little bit quicker than that, depending, but because, you know, of the speed, they're not allowed to call it an uninterrupted power supply, but it is a similar function. We are receiving over 900 watts from the AC cord, and then we are powering this little light here, this LED light, and it is basically controlled by this switch up here in the upper right-hand corner. And we're going to go ahead and watch the light dim, and we're going to watch the display. And that will actually show us how fast this thing switches over. So I'm going to count to 3. All right? 1, 2, 3. Now, as you can see, you saw it flicker. You see it's still powering the light, but it's no longer receiving the wattage from the AC outlet because the AC outlet's controlled by that switch. All right? Let's go ahead and turn it on real quick. Again, I'm going to do a 1, 2, 3 so you can actually see how fast it switches over. 1, 2, 3. All right, you saw the flicker in the light, and you now see the wattage coming back in from the AC cord. So, you do have EPS with the River 2 Pro. It works pretty well. It's nice to have. So one of the new features on the River 2 Pro is the Power Direct port, right? So you can actually charge the unit using this 100-watt USB Type-C. And when you're not charging it, it actually is an output as well, meaning you can plug in like a MacBook. So let's go ahead, and I picked up 2. I have the Ugreen 100-watt, okay? And I picked up the Amazon Basic, and this one is also up to 100-watt. But I've already tested the Amazon Basic. Let's go ahead and plug in the Ugreen and see if we get close to 100 watts using our USB Type-C. Now the Ugreen's got 3 USB Type-Cs and then 1 USB Type-A. But let me go ahead and plug this in over here. All right, and let's just plug this into the USB Type-C and see what we get. Yeah, there you go. We're getting 94 watts. And the battery's at 56%. So it says it'll take about 3 hours to charge based off that 94 watts. All right. Well, we'll put a link in the description if you want to pick up that Ugreen power adapter. And there you go, charging via USB Type-C. All right, good morning. It's a little chilly out here. It's spring. It's early spring, but it's early in the morning. Now, I'm going to go over some solar information, and then we're just going to do a quick solar test, all right? It'll give us some information. So if you're new to solar, take a moment for a minute. Just listen to this because there's some important information in general. So I'm going to talk about the specs of the River 2 Pro, right, for solar. So let's start off. You've got 2 things. And I'm going to put them in the corner over here. So you've got open circuit voltage, and you've got short circuit current. All right, let's start off with the limitations of open circuit voltage. The range on the River 2 Pro is 11 to 50 volts. That's really not bad. So again, 11 to 50 volts. Now, short circuit current is 13 amp, okay? So there you go. Now, what about the panel I'm going to connect? Well, this panel is a 220 watt EcoFlow BiFacial solar panel, which means you can actually get power from both sides. And we did a video on that. I'll put an image up on the left-hand corner real quick so you can see that. I'll put a link in the description too if you want to check it out. We've done a lot of testing on that, but the specs on that panel are 21.8 volts and 13 amp. So really works very well, right? Actually, to tell you the truth, you know, because this is limited to 220 watts, you know, you could really only have 1 panel, right? But we're going to go ahead and test that. Now, let's go over some recommended accessories. Now, just so you'll know, to do solar with the River 2 Pro, you do need a solar cable, all right? And I'll put a link in the description so you can actually purchase one of those because it doesn't come with the River 2 Pro. I also recommend some extended cable. Just get regular cable. I'll put a link in the description for different sizes. And you really, this is a 10 gauge, all right? So it's nice thickness. You can go out 20 feet, 30 feet without an issue in this situation easily. This is a MC4 disconnector tool, very inexpensive. We'll show you how that works. And then this, we're going to show you also, this is actually going to help us get the right angle with the solar panel. All right, so let me go ahead and set up the solar panel. And let's see what we get with our test this morning with this beautiful sun. So here's the solar panel. It's set up pretty much to the best of its ability. Let me just show you how the solar angle guide works. So all I do is, well, first of all, let me just tell you there's a dot in the front that creates a shadow. And what you want is, you could see that shadow up in the corner there. You really want that shadow to be as centered as possible. So let's check that out. So as you can see, it's not perfect, but it is centered. Now it tells me I need to lift the panel up a little bit more in order to get a better angle, all right? But as you can see, it's a pretty cool tool. Let's go ahead and connect the XT60 to the back of the power station. Should be a nice snug fit. Let's go ahead and connect the last of the solar cables. And then this thing will wake up and we'll see what kind of wattage it's getting. All right. All right, 180. That's not bad. 180 watts coming out of a 220 watt solar panel. That's really good. Now it tells us the battery's 28%. It would take 3 hours to charge the battery in here. This is 768 watt hours. Not bad. 180 watts coming in. Battery's at 28%, 3 hours to charge. So that is a successful solar test. So it's about an hour later. We pulled this out. We got it angled right with the angle guide we used earlier. We've got the extension cord. Let's see what we're getting here now. So I'm getting 208, 209 watts. Battery's 38%. It said it'll take 2 hours to charge the battery. That's not bad. That's really good. Now, as I said earlier, this is a bifacial solar panel, so it actually can get power from the back and the front. And we've done some pretty crazy tests on this one. I actually did 3 videos. And what I'll do is I'll put up the 3 images real quick here on the bottom of the screen so you can see all 3 videos. I'll put a link in the description right now if you want to see the first one. It'll be in the upper right hand corner right now, okay? So go ahead and click that right up there and check that out. Otherwise, we're going to continue with our review. Lastly, if you're wondering how this tool works, as you can see, it's got 2 pins on the end there, right? And when you look at the connection on the solar cable, you want to just get in between here, and then that's it. So I'm going to lay this on the bottom, all right? And it's going to push those 2 pins in, allowing me to just pull this apart. And that's it. All right, we're in the kitchen here. And the question is, can the River 2 Pro handle a top-of-the-line Keurig Plus Smart, right? This is a Supreme, I can't even remember the name anymore. It's so long. But this is the latest version, and it's the Smart version. And I'll tell you, this thing uses 13 to 1400 watts. Now, I have X Boost off. I'll go ahead and show you that. So as you can see here, X Boost is off. Let's go ahead and try. I'm going to put the phone down there for a minute. Let's go ahead and power up the AC outlet. All right, give it a second, the power. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open up this coffee maker here. All right, it is turning on. We're going to not really have much wattage showing. And now we're going to hit 8. Well, actually, we're going to hit 4. We're going to do a small cup because we like a small cup, a techmadeezy cup. Now, before I hit the K button, we're going to watch and see with X Boost off. 1, 2, 3. 1400 overload. Boom. So immediately, right? It just couldn't handle it. All right, let's reset this and turn on X-Boost. Now we're going to turn on X-Boost. All right, so X-Boost is now on. I would like to go out and go back in just to double check. So, all right, X-Boost is on. And put this aside. AC outlet is on. Coffee maker's getting power. Let's open and close it. Let's go ahead and reuse the K-cup. All right. We're going to do a 4 ounce. We're going to wait till it finishes to see if this is truly successful. 4 ounce. All right. The K is flashing. And let's go ahead and watch this now. I'm going to press it 1, 2, 3. All right. I got 800 watts. 600 and change. I got coffee coming out. Wait a minute. 700. 800. So a fluctuation. 850. 842 is the highest I think I've seen just watching. Now the wattage dropped to 0 just now. Now I don't know if the coffee is done yet. So let's just wait a moment. I don't see any fail on the River 2 Pro. So I'm just going to wait a moment. All right, let's check the coffee maker too. I would like to see... wait a minute, we got an error code 9. Please wait a few minutes, then try brewing again. So it looks like the Keurig coffee makers don't like that lowering of the voltage, and you could damage the equipment. I hope I didn't. I wonder if a basic coffee maker would work. This thing can't pull the power of a Keurig. Well, let me go set this up. Let's try it out. All right, the AC outlet is on. I'm going to hit the switch here in the back and see what happens. Then we'll watch the wattage. All right, the light is on. 800 and something watts. Now, I will tell you, X-Boost is off. I could swear. Give me a second. Okay, X-Boost is on. All right, X-Boost is on. So this is using 800 watts with X-Boost on, which means that it probably uses more. But can it make a cup of coffee? I guess we'll find out. And I'm going to try it next with X-Boost off. All right, it just stopped and went to 0. We're a little over 4 minutes into this test. So, yeah, this thing worked. It's still, filtering out the water from the reservoir, but it worked with X-Boost at 800 and change. Well, let's go ahead and make a smaller cup of coffee and try it with X-Boost off. Next test. X-Boost is off. I'll go out. I'll go back in. X-Boost is off. Now the AC outlet is on. And the coffee maker's off. So we're going to turn that little button in the corner on and see what happens. We'll have to watch pretty quick, because if this thing pulls any more wattage, well, this is probably not going to work. 1, 2, and 3. 900 watts. 901. I hear coffee. So instead of using 800 watts, it's using closer to 900. Ah, okay, it tripped. I didn't see the wattage, but it does say overload. All right. So what that tells us is you can make a cup of coffee with an old coffee maker using X Boost, and that worked fine. All right, well, it's the next morning, and I will tell you, do not use X Boost on new coffee makers, smart ones like Keurig for sure. As you can see, they worked fine on a dumb coffee maker, right? We had no issue. Actually, we were able to make the cup of coffee, but do not use it. Our Keurig K Supreme Plus Smart is now damaged, and I'm glad I'm able to show you this. For our next test, we call this our living room test. So we've got a 55-inch TV, we have a modem, we have a Wi-Fi mesh router, we've got our smart cameras, we've got our smart home, and we're also going to have our Roku TV control and our fan. Will this power it? I'm pretty sure it will. Let's take a look. So here we are. We've turned everything off. We've got no lights on the Roku, no lights on the TV, the modem, router, security cameras, right, mesh router. And let's go ahead and turn it on and see what we get as far as wattage. The fan is not on as well. So let's see what we get. The TV will turn on and off. It's just the way the Roku does that. It's coming on now. Let's see. All right. Yeah, there it goes. So we got 130 watts. Again, it will turn on and off. You'll see this go up and down. That's what the Roku does. I don't know why. Do you know why? All right, so the wattage will drop. The TV goes back off for a second. Then it will come back on. That's just the Roku. All right. And there you go, 130 something. So the Roku's on. This is on. The router's going to start the modem's going to start turning on. These devices are all starting to turn on. So look at that. I mean, really, you're looking at 130 watts with a 55-inch TV and security cameras and smart home and the router. And let's turn on the fan now and see what that does. So it's on low. All right, look at that. Went up to 183. I'll put that on high. All right. So look at that, 182 watts. No X boost needed, by the way. It's off. And you know what would be interesting? Let's go ahead and plug in a refrigerator and see what that would do. There's our full-size refrigerator, okay? And I'll put up an image in the upper right-hand corner so you can see specs on the refrigerator. You'll have to hit pause. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and plug this in now. And then we'll go over and plug it into the actual power station. So this isn't lit up right now because it's not receiving power. So let's just plug this in and check it out on the other side. All right, the fan is back on low. We're using 168 watts. Everything's powered now. Here is the refrigerator plug. Now what we're going to see, just so you'll know, is really just startup wattage. The refrigerator's been on for a while, so you're not going to see anything extraordinary. But let's watch. We're at 167 as soon as I plug this in. Let's watch that screen. 173, 175, 338, and back down. So real quick, the refrigerator's now powered. We'll go take a quick look at that. Again, the refrigerator, if you saw a moment ago, and I'll put this information back up on the left-hand side. The refrigerator is a new model. It's 2021. It's very efficient. All right, you could look at the information there. But it is cold, so, there's nothing that needs to be done right now. From time to time, obviously, it will, it'll kick on and, cool off the refrigerator. That will use more wattage. But I've only seen a couple hundred watts out of this thing from time to time, so it's pretty impressive. As you can see, we're back down to 169 with the refrigerator connected. But let's take a peek. I'll show you the refrigerator's being powered. So there you go, it's lit up. The refrigerator's being powered. And as you can see, there it goes. Oh, I got a piece of Snicker bars. I'm going to have that later. But that was successful. We are about to test the charging on this. We're going to charge it from 0% to 100%. And EcoFlow says it takes 70 minutes to go to 100%. We're going to test that. But one thing I want to talk about is, let's say you are going to take this somewhere where your outlets are maybe older outlets. And your outlets just can't handle 940 watts, right? Look at this. You see the AC charging speed, 940 watts. So what's nice about the app is you can click on the 940 and you can actually bring this all the way down to 100 watts. All right? And you know what? If you have older outlets, 100 watts might be perfect for you. Or something in between, right? You can go to 350 watts. So I love having the app, and I love this feature, and I just wanted to make you aware of it. We're going to start our charge test, and we're going to see if EcoFlow's claim 70 minutes to get to 100% charged. Well, let me go ahead and plug the outlet in. It is 2 o'clock. And that means 3:10 p.m. This thing should be 100%. It is now 0. And the wattage is going up. I believe it's around 900 and change to charge this unit. About 940 watts, I think, is the max. All right, 800. The fan kicked on. All right, it's creeping up. 2 o'clock, 10 minutes after 3, that'll be the 70 minutes they claim to charge to 100%. All right, 31 minutes in. Let's see where we're at. 31 minutes in, and we are 49% charged. Not bad, that's pretty close. 890 watts going in. All right, I wanted to do that 30-minute check. So 49%, 31 minutes in. 45 minutes, what do we have? 72% in 45 minutes. Wow. 1 hour, let's take a look. 95% charged in 1 hour. Wow. A little over 900 watts being pumped in. It says it's got 10 minutes left to be fully charged. Ain't that something? Well, let's check back. We're 3:05, right? 5 minutes after. And you'll see here it starts to slow down a little bit, dropping to 600 watts. You know, not to put too much wattage in for the heat, right? You know what I mean? It's all about reducing heat. The unit's warm, the fan is on, so it's doing a pretty good job. Looks like it'll make that 3:10 p.m. because we're 99% right now. Well, someone's got a few minutes before she eats, and guess what? I waited to hear that sound. 3:07, 100% charged. Well, their claim is more than true. That was actually 67 minutes to 100%. Just thought I would measure noise while the fan was on and this thing was working. So now you see the comparison of when the fans are on, right, and this machine is running, and when the fans are off. We're doing our first DC capacity test. And what that means is we're actually draining the battery, like you're using it, but we're draining it. And what's happening is we're draining it out of the DC 5521, cord here. Nice and slow, by the way. As you can see, it's only pulling 33 watts. We've been doing this for over 15 hours. And so far, we've gotten 618 watt hours out of the 768 watt hour battery. All right? We've got a little bit of time left, but we'll tell you what we end up with. It's a pretty interesting test. All right, the end of our DC capacity test, we just hit 0, and we got 652, I'm going to round that off to 653 watt hours out of this 768 watt hour battery. All right, in a few minutes, we're about to start our refrigerator test with the new River 2 Pro. And before I do that, I want to put some information up on the upper right-hand corner. I want to give you information on the refrigerator, okay? So you can see that this is actually a 2021 refrigerator, and not for nothing, it's really efficient. So hit pause, check that out, and we're going to start the refrigerator test. All right, it's about that time. It's about a minute before 10 p.m. Now the refrigerator is unplugged. Sorry, Brooklyn. And we are going to turn this on when it hits 10 o'clock, which is any second now. And then we're going to see how long this thing will last powering our refrigerator. We get 100% charge, right? So will it go for 10 hours? Will it go for 12? Can it go for a day? I don't know. I mean, this is the River 2 Pro. So let's turn on AC and watch just the power for a moment. Okay, and let's watch the startup wattage. 165. That's it. Went right down to 0. Now, guys, if you saw the specs just a little while ago, this refrigerator is very new. It's a 2021. It's really efficient. And so it's already cold, and that's the reason why it doesn't really need to do much. But from time to time, it's definitely going to kick the compressor in. So it is 10 o'clock. We've got 100% charge, and this thing says 48 hours, but that's based off of nothing, right? There's no output at this time. So we'll check back in the morning when we wake up, and we'll see. All right, maybe about 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning. All right, let's see what happens. And yep, it's 10:01, and I forgot to open the refrigerator and show you it's actually being powered. So, there we go. I'll see you in the morning. All right, good morning. It's 10 hours in. 10 hours in, it's just about 8 a.m. in the morning. The fan is on this thing. I'm wondering what we got. It's using 43 watts, and we've got 40% left on the battery. Wow, this thing is on, of course. It says we've got about 5 hours left, but that will probably be more. So 10 hours in, 40% left on the battery, and 41 watts going out to the refrigerator. Here we go. I got a minute shy of 12 hours. Let's take a look. 25% using 41 watts. There you go, 12 hours, 25% using 40 watts. One thing I like about the EcoFlow app is I don't actually have to be by the power station. I can actually just look at the app to see what the battery percentage is. 14 hours in. Let's take a look and see what we got. All right, 13% battery, 14 hours in. Quick 14.5 hour check. And just to see what we got here, 10%, 40 watts, 43 watts being used. All right, I call this one the 15-hour surprise. Where are we at in 15 hours? Wow, 7% battery left. Nothing going out. 15 hours in. 7%. I guess we'll see how this ends. 15 and a half hours, and we are down to 2%. No wattage going out. 15 and a half hours, 2%. And she just turned off. 15 hours and 50 minutes. And now I got to plug this thing back in. But I'm impressed. 15 hours and 50 minutes. Great job. All right, now it's time for our pros and our cons. And we're going to start off with our cons so we can always end on a positive note. Now, I will tell you that there are very few cons. This thing is built well. EcoFlow has continued to improve, okay? So my first con, there's no LED light. And I've always liked having a built-in LED light. So see our recommended accessories, and you'll see that we are recommending a light if you want one, but no light. The second thing, you don't get a solar cable, right? And I don't know why. It's like 30 bucks. And I wish they could just put it in the package, include it in the price, because really, like, you need a solar cable. You know, most people are going to recharge this with solar. Last one, no expansion, right? You don't have any expansion. So the battery is a little bit bigger in this newer model, but no expansion. Now, let's go ahead and go to our pros. So let's cover our pros, and we've got a nice list of pros here. So, not in order, but it is amazing to think that you can charge this thing to 100% in 70 minutes. I'm amazing. And 900 and what, 30, 40 watts when you plug it into AC. It did well even with solar, you know. I mean, it did a good job charging in solar. But plugging it into AC and getting it to 100% in 70 minutes is phenomenal. Our testing did well. We really didn't have any major hiccups. You know, we were able to achieve that 800 watts, right? And, you know, when we used the X-Boost, we were able to, you know, power devices that were a little bit more powerful. This battery is amazing, right? This LFP battery, 3,000 life cycles. And after that, it goes to 80%. You still have 80% of the battery left. Think about it. So this thing will last years and years. As long as you know how to maintain the battery, by the way, right? Because if you let this sit at 0 for a very long time, that's going to cause some damage. If you let this sit at 100% for a very long period of time, that will cause some damage. So that's important that you really know how to maintain your battery. Now, I love this new flap top. I really do. And even Mower Joe, look at him. He's excited. You know, I love this flat top. You know, you can put stuff on it. You've got your handle, which is really nice and built well. I didn't feel like, you know, you just can't feel like this is flimsy. This thing just works. So I like that. I really do. No AC brick to carry around, right? It's built right in. So I love that. The EcoFlow app, you saw us. We reviewed that in the video. And if you didn't, go check it out. You know, it's a wonderful app, right? Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, you know, remote control, stuff like that. You can turn on outlets, you know, things like that. So really like that. You know, I still have to say EcoFlow support. In my own experience, EcoFlow support has been phenomenal. And the last thing I will say is, you know, the older unit had 2-year warranty. This has a 5-year warranty, you know, so really, really nice. All right, so guys, I really hope that you found this video helpful in some way. And if you did, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Superman and Mower Joe are watching. Definitely give us that thumbs up, okay? We'd really appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the channel, take a moment and subscribe. I'd love to have you as a family member. come check out our videos. We just surpassed 450 videos in just a couple of years. So we've put up some good content. It keeps getting better. And you want to know why? Because of you. We read your comments. We interact with you. So we appreciate that. And also share our video, by the way. If you can share our video, it really helps. And if you share our video, post it in the comments. I will give you a heart and give you some love because I appreciate that. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And check out our new Tesla channel right up here on the upper right-hand corner. We got our first Tesla, and we're learning, and we're posting videos. And we are going to start posting about our journey and more about what we're learning. Right now, we're doing product reviews and stuff. But if you want to learn more about Tesla, subscribe. Other than that, thank you so much for checking out our video. And really, have a wonderful, wonderful day.